today from our textbook, Unshakable Spirit, Stories of Compassion and Wisdom by Kentetsu Takamori. And today's story is number 9, page 19. Anger is the enemy. A certain Swiss philosopher was famous for his even temper. A woman who worked as his housekeeper for 10 years swore that she never saw him so much as frown in anger. One time, a prankster offered to pay her if she could make her employer, a friend of his, lose his temper. The housekeeper thought and decided what to do. Her master liked his bed neatly made, so she deliberately left it unmade. The next morning, she fully expected a reprimand, but he only commented, smiling, "Say last night when I went upstairs, the bed wasn't made." One night wasn't enough, she thought. The next night, she left the bed unmade again. In the morning, he said, "You know, the bed wasn't made last night either. You must have been busy. Make it tonight, will you?" But she didn't. On the third morning, the philosopher summoned her to his study and said, "I see you didn't make the bed again. You must have your reasons for not doing it. Anyway, I've gotten used to making it myself, so from now on, I'll take care of it." The housekeeper had expected a thorough dressing down. At this show of generosity, she broke down, fell at her employer's knees, and sobbed out the whole story, begging his forgiveness. The philosopher never left off smiling. He bore this undeserved ill treatment with admirable patience. Okay, next story. Unchecked anger is a raging flame that devours all goodness. The following story illustrates the danger. Once, due to a servant's carelessness, a rich man's dinner was eaten by a lamb. The servant received an angry rebuke, and for spite, he threw hot coals onto the offending animal. The lamb's fleece caught fire, and the animal ran in panic into the barn. The fire spread to thousands of head of sheep, and in the end, the rich man's barn and home burned to the ground. One person's anger spreads out in waves without end. Know that anger is the enemy, and patience is the foundation of long lasting peace. He who expresses anger with his mouth is an inferior man. He who grits his teeth and does not express his anger is a middling man. He who shows no sign of anger, even when he is boiling with rage, is a superior man. Okay, very good. Actually, this is one of my favorite stories. Um, Maybe because I feel like this story has transformed my life completely. On it. Because I was kind of, when I was growing up, I was always scared of people's anger. It really made me feel horrible. A few instances, with my parents or some people around me, when they showed anger, like I saw hell basically. I don't know if I'm super sensitive to these emotions or whatever it is. So I knew that this is very bad. Anger really harms people tremendously without our knowledge, and also it harms ourselves at the same time. But I wasn't sure if anger was the enemy, like we read in the story, because that's not what we learn in society. Unfortunately, we learn that um, anger is good to fight for what you think is right. But everybody thinks they are right. So I think this is how anger spreads in society. But once I learned this story, so it's like my value system got solidified. Something that I always had a hunch that anger is bad, but I wasn't sure of, I was not confident about. This is one of the stories, and of course, the teachings of the Buddha helped me realize how dreadful anger is. Yeah, Buddha uses the word dreadful, and it resonated with me so much. And since then, I've been engaging with the antidote of anger, which is patience. And actually, the more patience we practice when things irritate us, the easier it becomes next time around to be patient. It feeds on itself, it perpetuates in a good way. Just as a vicious cycle is bad for us, this becomes a very good cycle. And then when the mind is patient and calm, mysteriously we have become more creative. We see solutions we could not see before. When anger is burning everything, we don't see any way out. Our mind is not creative and we miss out so many chances. So I feel maybe this is why today's phrase a day said, your uniqueness is your gift. Embrace it. So as a human being, only humans have this opportunity to transform these poisonous passions, such as anger. My cat cannot do that. So yeah, so this is our precious chance as a human being. So I'm so happy we all gather here today. This practice also is cultivating patience in us, observing our mind and being fine with it, whatever it is. So good job, excellent job. Today is Saturday, so we're going to have the Happiness Lab, 10 a.m. and by Yuichi, and have a wonderful start of your weekend. And thank you to Rick also for hosting the Purpose and Meaning Lab yesterday and beautifully. Thank you. Bye. Thank you, everyone.